Welcome to the Wealth Matters podcast, where investors come together to better understand how to build passive cash flow and create generational wealth without all the confusing mumbo-jumbo. Here's your host and co-author of Amazon #1 bestseller, Alpesh Pamar.
Welcome to Wealth Matters podcast. We are going to talk about something other than real estate, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard a lot about it from me. It's cryptocurrencies. So we have Mr. Eric McDonald with us. He's the CEO and broad chairman of CoinLion.com, a cryptocurrency auto trading platform that makes it super simple for anyone to invest in crypto. CoinLion have executed over 530,000 plus trades worth over $1 billion and have made investors more than 4 million plus in profit to date. So, of course, we want to talk about, Eric's experience as well as how they are able to do all this, right? Especially the auto trading. So welcome, Eric.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So, Eric, we start with this question with everyone. Tell us something interesting or funny about yourself.
Oh, I don't know about funny, but interesting. So I'm going to give you one on the personal side and then one on the business side. So personally, I've got 5 kids. I've got 3 kids biologically and adopted 2 kids from China.
Oh, wow.
So, yep. Large crew of kids.
Oh, that's rough, man.
Yeah. It's good. Oh, it's great. And then on the business side, professionally, probably the thing I'm most proud of is I spent 20 years building a healthcare technology company that sold for more than $1.25 billion a little over 2 years ago.
Oh, that's amazing. Congrats. So how was the journey and how long did it take you?
Yeah, it took 22 years.
Of course.
And everybody thinks, your tech companies just, happen overnight, and they don't. It took me about 12 years to get the company valuation from 0 to 23 million. And then in 10 years, I took it from a valuation of 23 million to 1.25 billion.
Wow.
And so you do have a hockey stick that does happen. But I mean, it still took a decade, took 10 years to go from 23 million up to north of $1 billion.
And I'm glad that you brought it up, because a lot of time people think that, when you have a great idea, when you execute it really well, it's an instantaneous success. No, there is also, persistence and patience at play here, right? Because if you would have given up, or if you would have thought, yeah, I'm happy with 20 million, okay, I'm done here.
Yeah.
But, you have to believe in it and keep working towards your goal. So yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I almost shut the company down probably 5 or 6 times in the early days. And so that persistence and waiting, being patient, very, very important. And, there are some similarities to, where we're at in the crypto space. In my prior life, there were no regulations in healthcare tech.
Right.
And the government kept talking about it, and you wondered if the regulations would be so heavy-handed that it would crush you. Same spot we're in today with crypto, where it's like, hey, we need some regulation. You're hoping that it's not so heavy-handed that it doesn't allow for you to, build a business.
I agree. So from healthcare to crypto, why and how?
Yeah, at my core, I love technology and I love solving problems. And in the early days of building my last company, the opportunity really was around handheld mobile devices within healthcare. And so for me, it was less about staying in a vertical, and it was more about chasing a great opportunity. And when I stepped down as CEO of my last company, I was looking for that next opportunity. And the more that I was exposed to crypto, I felt as though, hey, this is definitely the future. And I still believe that today, after being in here for, 4 years. crypto, when you fast forward 10 years, crypto is just going to be, it's going to be everywhere. It just will. And when people ask me, okay, well, what token is it going to be? Like, which one's going to be? And it's like, I don't know today. And what I point back to is when handhelds first came onto the market in 1999, right? You had the Handspring, you had the Palm Pilot, you had the BlackBerry. All three of those brands were huge. None of them exist today. And there's somebody on your podcast that probably is like, well, hang on, I got a BlackBerry buried somewhere in my house. But in general, BlackBerries are gone.
Yeah.
Palm Pilots are gone. And so handhelds didn't disappear. We all have a handheld. We all have an iPhone, an iPad, Samsung. And so in the same way, cryptocurrencies or blockchain, that blockchain is not going to go anywhere. That's just going to continue to grow and proliferate, many, many different industries. But to believe, hey, this is going to be the only cryptocurrency ever, such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, time will tell.
Yes.
And so I'm always a little cautious. Hey, don't hitch yourself to one token and believe that that's going to be the only token. Now, having said that, I still have, a couple $1 million just in a Bitcoin. So I am a big believer in Bitcoin, but I also have a good chunk of change in other tokens as well.
Oh, that's great. So let's talk about, and this is an investment show. So I also ask this question to everyone. What was your first investment and how did it work out for you?
My first investment. Well, for me personally, I'm going to point to the things I built. And that was my last, my company. So my first company was a company called DocuTAP. This was the healthcare technology. I started it, 18 months out of college. And so I would argue that was my first investment. And I did really well. So
of course,
I started that in my basement and obviously sold it for, what I conveyed. If you pressed me a little harder and said, no, I want to know like a stock you traded. Well,
real estate
early on, I traded, I was super bought into Citrix, which was and this would have been late 90s. And I lost a lot of money on Citrix actually in the public market. And so it was probably my worst investment. And it was one of my first investments. And so one of the things I learned from that is, hey, I have almost no control over these publicly traded companies.
Yes.
I have no control. And you'll have a CEO, and that's what happened is CEO came out and gave some horrible news, and stock plummeted like 30% in one day, and I had been trading on margin, right? So learned some really good lessons there, which is, hey, I like to invest in the things that I have control over. So CoinLion, this is my crypto company. I have a lot of control over this. Very different than a publicly traded company where I have zero control over.
Right. I agree. Always the control is always the better. And that's why I hate 401k plans, because you don't control, right? And we always talk about it as well. So let's talk about, because you and I are passionate about cryptos. Of course, you are way more passionate than I am because you have a big trading platform as well. What do you think about crypto's future?
Oh,
especially this guy, Gary Gensler.
Yeah. Gary Gensler. Yeah. So I'm a firm believer that crypto is here to stay. It's not going away. Now, are we actively working on licenses outside of the US, in the UK, in the EU, South Korea, across the world? Yeah, we absolutely are. Why? Because crypto is so much larger than the US. And it is truly a global framework. It's way bigger than any one country. China tries to ban it, and it doesn't shut it down, right? And so
they have not been able to.
It's here for the long haul, and we're still super early. I mean, we're still really early in the crypto lifespan.
Got it. So And of course, you spoke about Bitcoin and Ethereum. I have invested in, I would say, over 100 plus coins. And
Yeah,
of course,
wow.
made some and lost way more as well, right? But I do think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are here to stay because, it has become more like a base layer. Now that, and China, we just mentioned about China, right? They tried to ban Bitcoin and cryptos. I don't know how many times. Every
Yeah.
time they do that, the crypto just goes up. Like
Yep.
last time they banned Bitcoin mining, that was the best period for us when we were mining Bitcoin, because US went from owning like 20% of Bitcoin mining to going over 50, 60% of mining Bitcoin, right? So now China forced everyone. Basically, a digital yuan is a CBDC, right? So our
Hmm.
CBDCs, and I know, and that US is also testing CBDC already.
Yeah.
They're trying
Yeah.
to figure out. People may not know, but that's why they started this Fed Now system, right? And they're looking into, so are CBDCs a threat to cryptos?
No, not at all. So a central bank digital coin, right?
Currency, yeah.
Yeah, your currency. That is not, in my opinion, it is not a threat to crypto. In fact, I believe that it's going to be extremely helpful for crypto. And let me explain a little bit why. If a user comes to our platform and wants to begin trading and they're brand new, how do they get their money on? Well, they're going to do an ACH transaction.
Right.
Maybe they're going to do a wire transfer. Okay. But most people have ACH. And so they're going to send that ACH. The ACH, it goes through the Federal Reserve, right? That's the backbone of this.
Right.
And it takes a couple days to get the funds.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, let's get moving. And so
yes.
and so we, in the crypto space, we would prefer when we're dealing in this like instant, right? If you want to move, if I want to send you a Bitcoin, it's there.
It's right
super
there.
fast,
Yeah.
right? And then you've got the fiat system, which is like this old love, it's hard to deal with. And so it's like, hey, let's go, people. We need a better system. And so I don't worry about that. Now, with a CBDC, if the only token I ever use, the only currency I ever use is a CBDC, does it lend itself to the government knowing where I'm using my money? Yes, it does.
That's what I was going. Yes.
Does that scare me personally? No, I don't care how many bananas I buy. I don't care if they know that. Like, there's just nothing there. Like, if they want to examine my spending habits, feel free. Now, if I don't like it, though, there's a lot of different options for currency. It's not as though the only currency you can ever use is going to be that CBDC. And so if that's the case, like I live in a world where there's nothing I have to hide. And I live in a world where today the federal government probably knows way more than I think it does.
Oh, yes, of course.
My phone listens to every conversation I have anyways. Like we gave up our freedom a long time ago when we introduced every smartphone that listens to the conversation.
Right.
So
and Wi-Fi connected homes and all the robots and gadgets and Alexas and see.
If I am so, driven for anonymity, I should live in the woods and like trade goats and chickens for stuff. Like, and so I don't. I think CBDCs are going to be helpful, not harmful. Do I believe that the federal government already has visibility into my spending habits? Yes. They absolutely do. So that's just me, though.
So let's talk about this ETF, right? Do you think a Bitcoin ETF would be approved within the next 6 months?
Well, 6 is going to be tight. I honestly, I think it's going to be the end of March, April, maybe May. Like that's what I kind of see as being the time frame. Would I love to see it sooner? I would. Do I realistically think it's going to happen? It's not going to happen in 23.
No.
And so then, is it January, February? I don't think so. And so realistically, I think it's gonna hold off to just before the halving. I think you're going to have it's going to happen just before the halving.
Wow.
And then you're going to have the halving, and then you're going to see, some new all-time highs.
Yeah. If that happens and coincides with the Bitcoin halving in April or May, that would be crazy.
It's either going to happen 45 days before it or 45 days after. Like that. That's the window.
I see.
In my opinion, and this is pure speculation.
Again, yeah. None of us can, especially when that guy's around at SEC. Yeah. you never know. And you would think that someone like him, who is so smart and who knew about blockchain, who was teaching blockchain in MIT. Actually, I was going through his video courses. He would be so stupid again. This is not a political show, but it's interesting. So, but one more politics question. What do you think, or how this election would affect cryptos?
The 2024 election,
2024,
you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, I think that what happens in Congress right now is a bigger short-term impact on crypto. And I think there's so many distractions right now that are not helping the crypto. Like, I think we've got a couple of bills right there ready that if Congress had their act together and we had a good leader where there wasn't this dissension, and within the Republican Party, if there was actual like unity there, I think that you'd have a better chance of getting some of those passed through. And so I think that what's happened in Congress right now is unhelpful for crypto. And I don't see anybody stepping into that role that has historically carried a very pro crypto approach. So I think in the short term, that is probably the more impactful item. Longer term, I do think whoever steps in as president is going to have some kind of impact here. They have to have a background which is going to be pro crypto at some level, and so I don't have a ton of visibility into that. Ultimately, I go back to Congress and Senate. Like, those two are going to drive more of this, in my opinion, than the president. Right. So I don't put a lot of weight in the presidential election next year having an impact here. I put more weight on Congress and the Senate.
Got it. So what do you think about, or if you can guess, by looking at your crystal ball, what would be the BTC and Bitcoin price after the Bitcoin halving in 2024? I think it's April, right?
Yeah. I think that it's going to get up into the 90s, Bitcoin specifically. And the reason is, I think that I go back to, honestly, mining. I think that there are a lot of miners that are underwater, and at some point those miners are just going to all go offline.
Yes.
And you look at the hash rate, has continued to grow at a rate that the price has gone down. So at some point, I think that there's going to be some level of, hey, this has to
consolidation. Yeah.
Yep. And so that's why I think that, you're going to see some new all-time highs. So I think 80s and 90s, would I love to see it hit, 100K? I would. And I think you're going to see a strong correlation between Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Yes. Any other coins do you like other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? I used to love Luna, and that messed me up.
Yeah.
Big time. Everything I had made was gone with Luna. But any other coins do you focus on, or do you like maybe the technology or, people behind those coins?
Yeah. I mean, I might point to like Avalanche and Cardano type, a couple of those. Yeah.
Got it. So how and we know that crypto is so new, it's like the .com of 90s, and right? So it's been volatile. How can investors invest in cryptos during this volatility?
Yeah, ultimately, that's exactly why CoinLion exists, is we really want to simplify this for people from multiple aspects. One is, as an exchange, we don't list, 2,000 tokens. We only focus on the ones that we believe have a truly viable technology. If you have a meme token, maybe that's going to go to the moon, but
Right.
where's their value? And I remember talking to an individual, and he had moved to Puerto Rico because his net worth was $800 million.
Yeah.
I'm like, good for you. And he's like, well, it's actually zero now. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, how did you lose $800 million? And he tells the story about how he created a meme token, or I should say a token that went through the roof. And then within 30 days, it was gone. But he was in this lockup period, so he couldn't sell any of it. And I said, well, where was the value? And he's like, well, there was never any value. We wanted people just to hype it, and then the hype would always be there. And that's the stuff that as CoinLion, we don't list those tokens.
Right.
We want true value. Okay. So this is kind of point number one. Point number two is 95% of our users follow somebody who knows the space and knows when to get in and get out. And all of that is happening through automated trading. And so there's a couple of questions that people come to us with. Hey, first off, how do I know what token to buy? You don't have to worry about that. We have traders that know exactly which tokens to be in. Second off, they know when to buy in and when to get out. So you've got downside protection to make sure, hey, if the market keeps moving down, hey, we get you out. And too often people buy at the peak. They hear all of this excitement, and so they buy. They don't even look at the price. They're not analyzing the market.
When your Uber driver is talking about it, it's time to get out.
Yeah. And so really that's what our platform is about. It is focused on the right tokens, and it focuses on when to get in and when to get out.
I see. So let's talk about the platform then, because you mentioned the creators. Isn't there a conflict of interest? Maybe the creators try to hype up a token, right? Because they're like, oh yeah, we are going to buy it, and now everyone will buy. And when we sell it, everyone will sell afterwards, after us.
You're talking about like
the traders who people are following on the platform?
Yeah, I mean, again, I go back to, we're trading the top 10 tokens, and our traders are not able to manipulate the Bitcoin market. Like, they're not driving the Bitcoin market. Now, you're right. If they had a super small meme token,
then
they might be able to do that. That's not the world we play in, though. And
so which tokens do you guys focus on mostly, right? Are there top 10 tokens or 100?
You got it. It's the top 10, minus Doge right now.
Oh, God, that's a good idea.
We don't trade Doge.
That's a good idea. No, that's a good idea. So, so basically, let's say if I just want to, I'm risk averse at this point, or I'm already investing in crypto, so I just want to create some kind of cash flow or some kind of, passive investment, and I want to focus on Bitcoin. I can go to CoinLion.com and, find someone who I like, maybe a trader, and I just follow him. How does that process work?
Yeah, it's literally that simple. You create an account, and you find a trader, and you follow that trader. It's really simple. And so if the only thing you want to trade is Bitcoin, then you select Bitcoin as the only token you want to trade. And then it shows you just the traders that are trading that.
And so, are they mostly focused on buy and sell? So most probably on the bull side, or is there a bear case scenario as well, like, perpetuals or whatnot?
Nope. So, in the US, where we don't have clarity on regulations on shorting stock and futures, the only option right now is going long.
I see. So it's only like basically call options, right?
Yep.
You can only, if you think this Bitcoin is going up, and is it daily trading? How does it work? Or it's like, it could be intraday swing trading?
Yeah. So it depends on what you're looking for. And on the platform, you can see the traders' stats, and you can see how frequently they're trading. And so on average, you might have a trader that trades 10 trades a week. or you might have one that has 2 trades a month. You'll see that their average trade is maybe 2% per trade, and it's held for 2 days. Or it might be 12% per trade, and it's, 22 days. And so you have different options, and you can say, hey, I want 20% of my assets to follow, an intraday trader, and I want 80% of my funds to follow a long-term trader. So you have a number of options there.
And so I have a couple more questions. One, is there any fee to follow certain traders, or it's included with the platform?
Nope. Yeah, there's no fee to follow any of the traders.
Got it. So this is more like, I think eToro started with similar thing, right? Because I used to trade on eToro before US started, banning all the crypto exchanges, right? But I remember they had the traders,
Yes.
and I was able to follow as well. So the second question, what are the platform fees? Are they similar to Coinbase Pro or Kraken, or are they more or less?
Yeah, so it basically you can have your trading fees as low as 5 basis points.
Got it. So you are able to still choose the trading fees, or it depends on the coin or the timing of the market?
Yeah, so we have our own token as well. It's a utility token.
I
And
see.
if you commit to holding 5% of your portfolio value in our token, then you get a discount on your trading fee.
Got it. Like KuCoin.
Yep.
KuCoin does the same with KCS and even others.
You got it.
Yes. Now, this is great. Thank you so much, Eric, for your time.
Yeah.
Are you ready for fire round?
Let's go.
Would you be changing business or investment strategy because of this market, right? Inflation still rampant and interest rates so high.
With respect to crypto, is that what you're asking?
Or overall business or investment strategy.
Yeah, I mean, we live in some interesting times where inflation is high, and you have wars that are starting around the world. And so we do live in interesting times, and you do have to take that into account. I'm a believer of buying when the market is down. And so I am very bullish on the crypto space as a whole. Having said that, I also believe you have to have a rainy day fund for if things get worse. And so, yes, I am adjusting my investment strategy, and I'm capitalizing on this market right now because it's down, and I believe it's going to come back with a fury. I do believe it's 9 to 12 months from now. I don't think it's 30 days from now. Yeah, fingers crossed. It's going to take a little time. But I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm investing hard and have the last 30 days and will the next 60 days.
Got it. Favorite nonfiction book could be self-development, investing, business.
Well, it's the best book ever. And it's the oldest book on planet Earth. And it's the one book everybody has an opinion on. You might hate it, you might love it, but everybody has a perspective on the Bible.
Got it. No, that's great. Any tool or website you recommend other than CoinLion.com?
Yeah, CoinLion.com.
Any advice? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Keep going.
Any advice for investors?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably what I just said about myself as well, which is, hey, capitalize when the market's down. When the market's down, you capitalize on it, but not at the expense of your rainy day fund. You have to have a backup plan, and you have to, and while things are hard today, we are definitely not in that rainy day state yet. So I think you have to have a disaster recovery plan with your finances. And so, hey, I would be buying in when the market's down, and capitalize on this opportunity, but not at the expense of your disaster recovery financial plan.
Got it. How do you give back?
How do I give back? Probably 2 different ways. One is financially. And there's I set up a donor advised fund years ago, and so my DAF, I'm able to give financially out of my DAF to a dozen different organizations every year. And then in addition to that, my time. And so my time has been invested into the community and people. I've got a family that I want to say I've adopted them, but I've loved on that family in a lot of different ways. And so I do think it's really important as a society that we find somebody that we're going to mentor. And so this family, super underprivileged, needs just healthy, like mentally and emotionally healthy people to invest into them. When I talk about investing, it's not buying them food and buying them toys. It's not buying them stuff. It's your time.
Yep.
And so, some of these kids will stay here for the weekend and get integrated in with some my kids, and my kids live on them as though they're their brothers and sisters type deal. So we need more of that, in my opinion, in our society, where we're taking our time and our energy and we're pouring into other families.
That's awesome. How can my listeners reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on LinkedIn pretty easily. So if you're trying to ping me on anything specific, go find me on LinkedIn, Eric McDonald. You'll see that I'm tied to CoinLion. My prior company was called DocuTAP or Experity Health. That's probably the easiest way to connect with me. Jump on and create an account on CoinLion, of course. And I do create a good amount of content, so you'd see me there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric, for your time today.
Yeah. Appreciate you having me. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Matters podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes so others can enjoy the show too. Have a great week and happy investing!